What's going on, everyone? My name is UnderTheRadar, and welcome back to the second episode of Season 2 of the Draft League Viabilities. In the last episode of the Draft League Viabilities, I covered Tapu Koko, and if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, there will be, I'm going to try to put a thing right here for you guys to click on to go watch. I've never done that before, so hopefully I get it right. If not, but as I said, in that we did talk about Tapu Koko, and in there I mentioned what I think goes really well with Tapu Koko, and in this episode I'm going to be covering my personal favorite fighting type to pair up with Tapu Koko, and that is Conkeldurr. So right off the bat, I'm going to talk about the biggest thing that makes Conkeldurr very, very good to pair with Tapu Koko. It deters toxic spikes. Whenever you have something on the field that can get guts, and it has a stupid high attack stat, you do not want to give that thing guts. So instantly being able to deter one of the biggest things that can weaken a Tapu Koko is absolutely amazing. Not to mention that this thing greatly pressures steel types. It even pressures the steel psychic types like Jirachi with things like knockoff. Having knockoff support is amazing for Tapu Koko because instantly this thing means that you can knock off a Choice Scarf user. This has access to priority to help knock out things like a Scarfed Weavile, like a Mega Lopunny, anything like that that can really help pressure your Tapu Koko. On top of that, this thing is a very, very good Assault Vest user. Since Tapu Koko is a bulky-ish mon, it can be used as a bulky pivot. You don't always want to rely on that, so you want to have another really good bulky pivot to try to use, and Conkeldurr is exactly that. With having a very hard-hitting Drain Punch, being able to recover HP pretty easily, access to Assault Vest, and a decent defense stat, it can make for a very good bulky pivot to come in, sponge a hit, use Drain Punch, and get it all back. Not to mention, on top of that, it can be an amazing wall breaker for Tapu Koko. In general, I think Tapu Koko needs a very good wall breaker to try to wear down walls so it can come in, revenge kill them, and then proceed to sweep through a team. Conkeldurr can honestly be one of the best wall breakers. There are two big fighting types in the entire Draft League format that I think are always scary to go up against. Pangoro, Conkeldurr. The reason why I think that they're so scary to go up against is because you don't know what they are until they hit the field. Whenever you were looking at a Conkeldurr, it could instantly be a Guts Flame Orb set. If you get up Toxic Spikes, you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot. If it is a Sheer Force Life Orb set with Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Drain Punch, Mach Punch, anything like that, it can wear down your walls very, very easily. This thing is even really good at breaking down some of the fattest, bulky water types. Adamant Sheer Force Life Orb Thunder Punch does 54% minimum to a physically defensive Suicune. That's a Suicune. Obviously not the best example, but just the fact that it is that fat and it can do that much damage shows you how easily it can wear down walls for Tapu Koko to come in and just clean it up. Also, with the super berries is what I like to call them, access to Figgy Berry, things like that, if you let it get weakened, it can go right back up 50% along with Drain Punch, and it can be very hard to take it down, at least in one shot. On top of that, it does have access to its own setup in Bulk Up and its own priority, so it can go ahead and outspeed a whole bunch of other things while also setting up its attack and defense. And of course, it can just be a regular old Choice Banded wall breaker, and it can run through pretty much everything, even if it's just like not Life Orb and it's just Sheer Force. It can be pretty freaking ow. So with Conkeldurr being a very, very, very good wall breaker, I think it pairs up perfectly with Tapu Koko. Not only does it pair up with it in a very good rain team that I mentioned before, but I also think it pairs up very well with it in a bunch of other teams. It really helps in a rain team because, as I said, it does pressure those bulky steel types, which things like Kingdra also struggle to deal with pretty easily. So I definitely think that Conkeldurr works well on a rain team. On a bulky offensive team, this thing works amazingly. If you have access to like a bulky pivot like Tornadus T along with Tapu Koko and Conkeldurr, you can continuously switch in and out between all three of these, get really, really, really good chip damage. And then if you have a really fast Mega like a Mega Lopunny, Mega Sceptile, Mega Alakazam, you can easily clean up late game just because of all of the general momentum that you can gain from U-Turn on Tapu Koko and Tornadus T, the general wearing down of Drain Punch, Mach Punch, and coverage, and knockoff from Conkeldurr, knockoff from Tornadus Therian. Like, it's very easy to just gain some very good pivoting from those as a bulky offensive draft. And in a pure offensive drafts, they normally have some very good pivoting mons, and then they have some very slow wall breakers. And Conkeldurr is a great slow wall breaker, as I've said before, so it can pretty much work on every single draft possible. Together though, these both do struggle with bulky fairies a little bit, so if you plan on drafting this pair, I also suggest pairing it with something like a Scolipede or a Jirachi or something like that that can really pressure those bulky fairy types, and in general, you'll be able to deal with pretty much any wall core situation that you could possibly come across in your league. So those are some things to keep in mind whenever you do draft the core of Tapu Koko plus Conkeldurr. Another thing that I would also strongly suggest you attempt to get with this pair is a very good wish support user, which is why, as I stated in the last video, you are able to still get a very high tier Pokemon if you take these two. You're able to get something like a Sylveon, you're able to get something like a Jirachi, potentially. And you're able to pass those wishes off to Conkeldurr because it is a bulky pivot. You're able to pass them off to Tapu Koko, which can greatly appreciate those. And in general, just that wish passing is very, very good for these two in general. If you want to try to go with a more low tier wish passer, I think Alomomola is a very good wish passer for these two to pair with. Mainly because Alomomola, while it is setup fodder, it is very easy for you to have something like a Conkeldurr to live a hit from any +1 mon. It's very easy for you to have like a Choice Scarf Tapu Koko to come in and just nuke it with something like a Wild Charge. It's very easy for you to build around something that might set up on an Alomomola. But with Regenerator plus those really fat wishes, you're able to keep your team really, really healthy. Conkeldurr in itself as a mon though, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a C in general for something to pick up in Draft League format. A very good friend of mine, Ash Nakai, loves Conkeldurr and he will stand by that mon until the end of time. I can see why he does it, however, I can see where there are other fighting types that'd be very good, like Infernape. I personally prefer Infernape to Conkeldurr, but when pairing with it, I do prefer Conkeldurr to Infernape whenever I'm looking for like a bulky-ish, come in, get some really good chip damage, and then get out type of mon. So a C I think is very reasonable for Conkeldurr, especially because it is a lower tier fighting type, and I still think it is a very, very good fighting type at that, and who doesn't love a little bit of priority? But guys, that is going to go ahead and be episode 2 on Draft League Viabilities for Season 2. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to leave a like down below for me. Also, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment letting me know if you think I missed anything with Conkeldurr, if you think there would be another Pokemon that would work best with Tapu Koko. If you think that there would be another really good Pokemon that would work best with Conkeldurr, I would love to go ahead and see your guys' suggestions down in the comment section below. Also guys, don't forget to leave me suggestions for what to cover next week on Draft League Viabilities. I'm always going to be going with what you guys want the most. I do think I know what I want to do next week though, so don't be upset if I don't pick any of your guys' for next week. But with that being said guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.